and welcome to my craft room. I'm Nina with Walla Stamping. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be sharing a simple 16th birthday card with you today, and I'm going to be showing you how to get a rainbow looking background with the Touches of Texture stamp set, which is right here. And I'll be giving you a little bit closer look at that here in just a minute once we start making the card. This is a really great stamp set because it has so many different patterns that you can use for backgrounds or even focal images. And it makes it very easy to create a lot of texture in a background for a card or even a box or a gift bag if you like. So this is a very easy and quick card to make. Got lots of color. It's very bright and happy. Let me show you how it's done. So this is my inspiration card, but unfortunately the stamp set that I used to create this card with, as well as the die set, was in the celebration catalog and they are no longer available. So I'm taking this card, and it is a pop-up card that holds a gift card on the inside, and I'm going to remake it, but do it with product that you can get your hands on. So let's set this aside and we'll go ahead and get started. Now, all of the measurements along with a list of supplies of everything that I'm using, I had at the very beginning of the video. I'll also have it at the very end, so you don't have to worry about trying to write everything down and keep up with all the measurements and the scoring. I'm going to have that listed for you there, as well as over on my blog. You can get the instructions along with the list of supplies on how to create this project there too. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my Big Shot work done. Now I'm using a couple of die sets, and one of them is the large numbers framelits, and I'm going to do this card for a 16-year-old. And then I'm also going to use a framelit from the Sunshine Wishes, and this one just says congrats. So what I'm going to do is just grab my Big Shot, and I'm going to cut out 3 of each of these. So in other words, I'm going to cut out 3 of the words congrats, and I'm going to cut out 3 each of the number 1 and the number 6. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done off camera, and I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do next. So I've gone ahead and gotten a couple of my pieces glued together. What I'm going to do next is just apply a little bit of my Tombow liquid glue to the congrats. Then take my last piece, which is the 3rd one I cut out, and just stick that on top. Get everything lined up. And there we go. Then we'll do the same thing with the number 1 and the number 6. I've already have 2 of them glued together, so I'll go ahead and put the last one in place. Then I'm going to take these and do some clear embossing on them, and it's going to give them a very thick plastic kind of a look. So let me show you here in just a second how I accomplish that. So I have my Versamark here, and I'm going to start out with my number 6. So I'm going to lay it face down, and I'm just going to use my finger and push that down into my Versamark. Then I have my clear embossing powder here. I have a washcloth over here. I'll just get that off my fingers. I'm just putting it into my Versamark and giving that a little shake. Then I'll use some tweezers to get that out with. Move some of this out of the way, and I will get that heat set with my heat tool. Now I let that cool off for just a little bit, probably about 30 to 40 seconds. I'm going to do this same step again, put this down into my Versamark ink, get that pushed on there, clean it off my finger, shake that around, get it out with my tweezers, heat set it a second time. And here is the 3rd and final time that I'm going to add Versamark and my clear embossing powder. Okay, I've got the number 6 done, but it's still warm to the touch. So for the sake of not getting any fingerprints or smudges and that lacquery shine that I've got on the top of this cardstock, I'm just going to let it sit for a minute, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my number 1 and my congrats done the same way I did this, and then I will come back and give you a little bit closer look at those. All right, here is a closer look at these with some light reflecting off of them. Do you see how lacquered and shiny these look? I think they turned out fantastic, and they're going to look really good on the front of this card. So I'm just going to set these to the side for now and show you the stamp set that I'm using. This is called Touches of Texture. So we're going to start out with a piece of Whisper White, which my pieces are laying on over there. This piece is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Now this is the image right here that I'm going to be stamping with. I've got some Daffodil Delight, Pumpkin Pie, Real Red, Tempting Turquoise, and Perfect Plum. So I wanted all of the colors that you would typically see in a rainbow to be on this card. So this is how I'm going to get this going. I'm going to start out in my Perfect Plum, and I'm going to stamp off the edge just a little bit. And I'm going to space these apart so that they're, I would say, about 1/2 inch apart, and go all the way across my paper. Important, get your stamp clean before you move on. So I'm going to come into my Tempting Turquoise next, and then stamp these in between each of the Perfect Plum and go across my cardstock just like I did with the Perfect Plum. When I get to the end, I'll just stamp one right off the edge like that. Clean my stamp again. Then I'm going to go into the Real Red, the Pumpkin Pie, and the crushed, let's see, was this crushed curry? Daffodil Delight. I don't know what I told you that was, but it's Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to speed up the video and show you just how I get this done. So now that I got that stamped, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to prepare the 2 pieces of cardstock, and I'm using a crushed curry for this to hold the gift card in, this little piece right here. So I've got 2 pieces here. This one is cut to 1 15/16 by 4 1/2. And this one is going to get scored at 1/2 inch, then 1 3/4 inch, then 1 1/4, and 1 1/2. Slide that over there for just a minute. Then we're going to put the next one in. This one is 3 7/16 by 4 1/2. This one is going to get scored at 1/2, 1 1/2, 2, and 3. Now all you need to do is just fold and burnish all of your score lines. Now because I've got these cut to a 1/16 inch on one end of the measurement, more or less, that means that one of these score lines is going to be a 1/16 inch shorter between the edge and the score line than the other one. Now if you want to keep up with which end you scored last, that's fine, but I'll also show you how to look at it once you get it folded to know which end needs to be folded over the top and which end needs to be tucked underneath. And it'll be easier if I show you with this. So when I tuck this in, do you see how the cut edge and that folded edge line up pretty much perfectly? I know that this is the piece that is cut at like the 1/16 inch. If I were to do it the other way, there's not much difference, but hopefully you can see that my cut edge there doesn't line all the way up even with that folded edge like it does when I go this way. So that is how you know which is what when you're putting this together. I'm just going to use my fast fuse. Tuck that in right there against that score line. Fold that down. Then I like to just lay that down and give everything a nice good press. Then I like to fold it back the other direction because I want these score lines that I'm putting in here to be very flexible because they have to go inside of this card and they're going to be opening and closing. So I want to make sure that they're going to be loose enough to open and close easily when the card is open and closed. Now what you'll want to do, this is my end right here that has the cut edges. I want the cut edge pointing down toward my tabletop. Same thing with this one. I want that cut edge pointing down. And so this is the 1-inch side. I want it standing up 1/2 inch tall. Okay, so they're going to go together like this. What I'm going to do is lay this one down flat, and right here, just below this little score line, I'm just going to use some fast fuse. You can use liquid glue if you like, but just for the sake of time today in the video, I've decided to use my fast fuse because I don't have to hold it and wait for that glue to take hold. So I'm going to lay this down beside that, get those ends lined up, push those together, and then again I will lay this down, give that a good press back that way. These are stuck together. Now let me show you how this works. This card slides right here in between those two to hold your gift card. Pretty cool idea, huh? Alright, so I have my card base here, which this is my Whisper White that is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. I've got two pieces here, Real Red Tempting Turquoise, and what I want to do before I put this together, this is actually a retired piece of product, and this was our Project Life corner punch, and I still love it and I still use it even though it is retired because I wanted to give this card some rounded edges. I'm just going to attach a little bit of fuse to my Real Red, and my Real Red is going to go right in here on the bottom. I wanted this card to be really bright and cheerful. Since the outside has that rainbow going on, I wanted the colors on the inside to coordinate, and I just wanted it to be a very bright and happy and cheerful card. So I've got the Tempting Turquoise going on what will be the top of the card. Now we can go ahead and get the corners punched on our outside panel, and we'll go ahead and get the inside portion of this card put together. So here I have this piece right here. I want the narrower piece in the front and the piece that's 1 inch from front to back in the back. So I'm looking at it upside down. So what I'm going to do is lay this down flat. I'm going to put adhesive all the way across, and then right here, that was the end of my fast fuse. I'll have to jump to snail next. Okay, so this is the underneath side, this is the back, this is the top. I'm going to flip this over now, and I'm going to line it up center from left to right. I'm just turning my card this way because I want to line this up, and I'm going to get my head in the way here probably just for a second because I want to make sure I have it in there even. I'm going to line that up right there even with that score line. Then we can just lay that down, push that into place. So when you open and close your card, it's going to open and close this little piece as well. Alright, let me go ahead and stick my pretend gift card in there. So you see what I'm saying? When you close, it'll close that gift card in there. When you open it, it'll open back up. And because of all the paper that's in this card, it is going to be a thick card, but it'll still go through the mail. So to make my congrats hold on inside of my card here, I've decided to use glue dots. You could also use some liquid glue if you would like to, but in my opinion, the glue dots make this a quicker and easier job because you don't have to hold it in place. All right, I've got all my glue dots on there. I want to get that centered up. Just stick that down. So you want to make sure that you keep your glue dots concentrated to the bottom portions of those letters. I'm going to lay that down and give it a really good press so that it'll grab. Alrighty. Now I'm going to close my card. And once you've had this in an envelope for a little while, it should stay closed. It's just wanting to rebel right now just because it's a freshly made card. I'm going to put, actually, let me back up. I'm going to put the 6 on first because it's going to go right here in the corner. And then I'll put the 1 beside it. Get those lined up, get them on there straight. So here is the outside of this card. Now let me bring in my inspiration card. I wanted to show you that I could get a card that looks very similar with different stamps. So there's the outside, and here is the inside. Thank you for joining me today. I am so happy that you allowed me to share this card with you. If you find that you need or want any of the products that I've used, you can always shop at my online store, which is wallastamping.com/order-SU. And like I said, I'll have links to all of the products in the description box below here, as well as over on my blog. Now I'll have instructions on my blog for you to make these cards over there as well. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. You'll get a free welcome gift when you do, as well as exclusive tutorials and promotions from me. So thank you again for spending time with me today and allowing me to share these great little birthday cards with you. I hope you enjoyed it and that I've inspired you to go out and create a birthday card for someone. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.